Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. You know what to do by now. We're live. We're in the studio, which means you need to get involved in the chat and the comments and let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news. We're going to be talking about Victor Osimhen. We're going to be talking about Harry Kane. We're going to be talking about Harry Maguire. We're going to talk about Bruno Fernandes as well, because there's a lot of discussion around Bruno Fernandes, and we are very much in the Bruno Fernandes camp on this channel. He's our captain, and he's a Manchester United player, and we're going to get behind him because some of the stick he's been getting has been beyond the pale. But I'll get to that a little bit later on. First of all, let's just go through some hellos. Santa Knox says, over your cold yet? I've had a bit of man flu. I'm soldiering on like the brave little soldier I am. But I think I'm out of the worst of it, yeah? I've just been sort of lay on the couch with a little bell to ring for help from my lady friend. Like, I need some help. I need some out soup. James Kellen says, morning, Jay. Happy says, morning, Jay. Kimani W says, Goddess of Morning by Bald Uncle Jay. I love that. Laura Baker, Kay Buckley, Carl Harris, Glenn F. Loads of people in the chat saying hello. Right, should we start with our first story, which is Victor Osimhen? Yeah? Now, this is the guy from Napoli who's been absolutely banging him in. You can see there, 19 goals in 21 games in Serie A. And he's acting as a catalyst, it says, for Napoli's sensational campaign, which sees them top of the division by 15 points. So he's flying. Now, he's had a quote here that has sort of insinuated he's looking to move and he's looking to come to the Premier League. Well, it's more than insinuated. He basically said it. You can see there. Excuse me. A lot of people worldwide consider the Premier League as... So you just scroll up a little bit, as the best and the strongest league, but now I'm in one of the best leagues in the world, which is the Italian Serie A. I'm working so hard to make sure that I achieve my dream of playing in the Premier League someday, but like I said, it's a process, and I just want to keep on this momentum and to continue doing well. So, that's pretty obvious he wants to play in the Premier League, because he said it. What do you reckon? Do you reckon he's going to come to Manchester United? Would you like to see him at Manchester United? He has been banging him in. Excuse me. And we've been linked with him quite heavily. It seems like a player you can get as well, because from Napoli, you should be able to buy players from Napoli. Would you have him? I would personally, but we're going to get to the Harry Kane story in a minute, because it looks like we're in for Harry Kane as well. So, Victor Osimhen or Harry Kane, we need a new striker. Not being harsh on Weghorst, but he's not the option long term, is he? I think we all know that. I think we know that he's a stopgap. And even if he does end up staying past this season, I don't see him starting every game for Manchester United. I think he's going to be just a different option. So I think you need an out-and-out striker who can get you goals. Unfortunately, Andy Martial, with all his injuries, is not that guy. But with someone like Osimhen coming in, been banging him in for Napoli this season, absolutely on fire. He's the sort of player as well the fans will love. He gets stuck in, he scores spectacular goals. You know, he's that player who's got a bit of skill, but the physicality as well. So I think he'd be a real sort of a number 9 you'd love. But is it going to be him or is it going to be Harry Kane? We'll have to wait and see. Witterbird says, good morning, Jay. What's your opinion on Bruno Fernandes, as I think he's getting the rough end of the stick? I agree, and I'm going to get into Bruno Fernandes in a minute. I want to talk about him because some of the stick he's been getting has been beyond the pale. So we'll talk about Victor Osimhen in a minute. Now, United have been linked with another player from Serie A, and this is the kid... from, I think it's from Inter Milan, yeah, Inter Milan defender, Alessandro Bastoni. Now, he's out of contract in June 2024, so there's a suggestion we can get him cheap. It's been reported that several clubs could swoop for him in the summer to try and land him in a cut price deal. United have been credited with interest in his signature and could double his wages to convince him to move to Old Trafford. What do you reckon of this one? Do you reckon we need another centre-back? Because I like the kid, and I've not seen a lot of him, but he's obviously decent. But I don't know, we've got Martinez, we've got Varane, Lindelof, Maguire. It looks like Maguire. We're going to get to Maguire in a minute. It looks like Maguire's going to go. Lindelof, what do you reckon with him? Do you think there's a chance that, you know, he could stick around and still be our third choice? Do we need Bastoni? Do we need more bodies? What do you reckon? Let us know in the chat, in the comments. Let us know if you've seen a lot of him as well, because I've not seen much of him. Only a bit. But he does look like a quality player, and if he's, you know, if he's cheap and he's got the quality, then it's a bit of a no-brainer, because Defensively, it's a bit of a funny one because our first choice centre-back pairing, despite what happened at Anfield, is very good. But then when you bring in other players, sometimes you have to use Luke Shaw. Excuse me. Sorry about that. You have to use Luke Shaw. Alexi, my bag's just there, bro. You pass it to us. Cheers. You'll have a drink of water. Thank you for that, bro. Yeah. So, Bastoni, is he the answer to our problems? Let us know what you think. Cut price deal, because even if we get took over, we've got loads of money, you're still going to have this financial fair play thing. So you are going to have to sort of watch what you spend, especially if, as we look like we might do, go big on a striker in the summer. Let's talk about strikers. Let's talk about Harry Kane. We've already talked about this, Victor Osimhen. Harry Kane, the story doing the rounds here. I think this is from the Mail, but it's been coming in a few papers. I've seen it in the Evening News as well. I think they've covered it, and Sky Sports had it in their paper roundup. It says, United are confident of landing Harry Kane this summer if Spurs miss out on top 4 spot, with Red Devils encouraged after making contact with the England captain's camp through a third party. So they've already made contact with him. So that's quite big if they've already sort of got some talks underway. Now, what kind of contact, how far along the line those talks are, I'm not sure. It could be they've just said, listen, we're interested in him if he's interested in a move. It could be one of those, which would make sense. Because I think people know that anyway, but just to let him know, look, if you do leave Tottenham, we are here and we are ready to sign you. There's still a chance he might not leave Tottenham. Now, the Mail and a couple of other papers are putting it down to top 4. If he makes top 4, he's going to stay. I don't know, I always think with Spurs, like, yes, playing in the Champions League is good and you're in it, you've got a chance to win it. And I might be wrong, but I think Spurs had that one chance of winning the Champions League when they got to the final that year against the Scousers, and they obviously blew it. And I think that, yes, you can be in the Champions League, but have Spurs got a realistic chance of getting to another final or winning it? I don't think they have. Now, you might go, well, United haven't won it since 2008. True. But I think you've got a better chance of winning the Champions League if you come and sign for Manchester United than you have of staying at Spurs. That's my opinion. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Do you agree? Jay Fisconi says, good morning, Jay. I definitely prefer Osimhen over Kane. I think his youth and dynamic style would be a better fit for the style that Erik Ten Hag seems to favour. Who would you prefer and feel better, mate? Thank you, bro. And soldiering on. Excuse me as well for munching lockets and drinking water. And Stuart Thomas says, you sound terrible, Jay. Thank you. Ravens final box says, morning, Jay. Looking smashing like always. Thank you. Bit of yin and yang there. See, I mean, to be fair, I do sound terrible. Hit that like button. You know what to cheer me up? Some likes. Let's get to 300 likes. Come on. Glenn F says, in my opinion, Harry is past it. Osimhen instead of him all day long. David Harrington says, we've no chance of getting Osimhen, Jay. Napoli are hard to deal with while they're walking their league and one of the Champions League favourites. I can't see them letting him leave. Go get Kane, Prem proven. The only thing with Kane, great points. Kane is Prem proven. He's also a lot older than Victor Osimhen, isn't he? I still think Harry Kane has got at least 2 seasons in him at the very top. Right? And I think within those 2 seasons, if he signs for Manchester United, he can win a title. I firmly believe that. I'd fancy us next season for the title if we signed Harry Kane. I think he's that good. Because I think if he comes into this team, he scores goals, he tends to play a lot of games. That's a sort of underrated trait. People forget that a lot of the time. And that's one question you might have. Like, Osimhen's played a lot of games this season. But I think if you look at his record overall, and I'm not saying he's injury prone, because that'd be well, overstaying it. But if you look, he's played 30 games, 32 games last season in all comps, 30 games the season before. So he misses a few games. And when we had Carl Anker on, he pointed out the fact that he misses a few games because he throws his body into things and he puts his head into things and he's, gets his foot into things and all that sort of stuff. He's a rough and ready striker who's willing to take the possibility of getting an injury to try and win a goal or to try and win the ball, or get a goal, which endears you to the fans. But is that a concern that he's going to miss chunks of the season or parts of the season? Harry Kane, on the other hand, and Harry Kane had this little thing where he had a bit of a reputation for being injury prone, but he ain't. I think the stats just show that he's not. If you look at the last few seasons, this season he's played 36 games, which is a lot. Last season he played 50. The season before that, 49. Season before that he played 34 in all competitions. So he did have injury issues that season. But, you know, last season, the season before, almost 100 games over 2 seasons, 99 games. That's not a kid that's getting injured. And also 36 already this season, including 26 in the Premier League, which that's got to be there and thereabouts. Is that literally every game this season for Spurs? It is. He's played every game for Spurs this season in the Premier League. Can't argue with those stats. He is available. Now, okay, you could go, well, Jay, he's nearly 30. He's 29 until he's 30. And once players get 30, they pick up more injuries, this, that, and the other. Sometimes they don't. It's not a given. So there's pros and cons to both players. Osimhen, obviously younger. You could have him for longer. You'd expect. There's the point that someone else was making there. 'Cause he's only 24. That his style might fit Erik Ten Hag's style a little bit better. I do feel like that Harry Kane would be perfect for United though. I feel like we saw glimpses of it in the World Cup with Marcus on that left-hand side, what can happen, and with Kane in the middle. And you can have it, you can have Kane in the middle, Marcus on the left, I presume it'd be Andy on the right, because you've just spent €100 million on him. I think that works as a 3. And I think it's got goals in it. And I think regardless of whether it's Osimhen or whether it's Harry Kane, we need someone else who can score goals. We're too reliant on Marcus Rashford. We saw it against the Scouts. It wasn't the only issue against the Scouts, obviously. That wasn't Marcus Rashford or someone not scoring goals that made us concede 7. But we look at Marcus for the goals, and if they don't come, no one else is close to double figures, I don't think, in the league. There's only him. So Harry Kane comes in, and you could easily see him getting 30 goals next season for Manchester United. I think that's pretty much... I expect that, to be honest with you. I'd be disappointed if he didn't. And I think then, with someone doing that, United could be challenging not just for the Premier League but for other honours as well. We've already seen under this manager how he's capable of challenging on several fronts. Tom Hutton says Kane suits us more. Osimhen will go to Chelsea. I think he could, you know. If we don't get him, I think Osimhen could go to Chelsea, because Chelsea just gone turbo, haven't they, transfers, and they still look a little lightweight. What's happening with Christopher Nkunku though? Is he not going to Chelsea? I don't know. Do you know what? It's difficult to keep track of what's going on with Chelsea all the time. Glenn F says we're desperate for a striker, no doubt, my main man. I agree with that. Dan United 94 says Kane obviously isn't a long-term signing, but him replacing Martial is an unreal upgrade. Prem proven, guaranteed goals, 2 to 3 successful seasons will make it worthwhile. Look at RVP. I get RVP vibes with Kane. I do. That similar age, 29, proven in the Premier League, top striker from another club. Probably not going to be there forever, or at United forever, sorry. But you feel like if you get him in, and you're almost there in terms of a title challenge, because I feel like United are about 2 players away from a proper title challenge, like from basically winning it. And I think one of them would be a striker. And I think if he came in, he'd smash it. Hit that like button. We're on 110 likes. Let's get to 300 likes. We can do it, people. Yassine says RVP was cheap and had 2 great seasons. The thing is, right, when we signed RVP, people were going 29 million or whatever it was, or 27 million for a 29-year-old who's only got 1 year left on his contract at Arsenal, or United have had the pants pulled down. It doesn't matter if you win a title. If we spent 150 million quid on Harry Kane and won a title, I'd be alright with that. Honestly, you'd pay 150 million pounds for a title, wouldn't you? We've spent $1 billion to not win a title. Now, I'm not saying it'll cost 150 million. I don't think it would. I think it's going to be around 100 million, because despite his age, he's still one of the best strikers in the world. He's still completely prolific and Premier League proven. And he's got, I think, a couple of years left on his contract as well, so it's not like it's at the end of his contract. So you're probably going to spend I was going to say 3 figures. It's not, is it? What is it? 9 figures on him. But it'd be worth it. Stuart Thomas says, when you're right, you're right. Jay. Yassine says, I would pay 150 million for a title, but we have to upgrade our squad and we will get fleeced. We do need to upgrade our squad. You're right, because you saw it. I don't want to keep going about Liverpool game, but you did see it on the Liverpool game where we were just short, weren't we? We were just short, because when Liverpool can bring on, Jota and Firmino, and they've got a front three who've scored loads of goals, and we're having to bring on 18-year-olds, it shows you the difference in the squads. Should we talk about Harry Maguire? Harry Maguire says here, report by 90 minutes, Newcastle are monitoring United skipper. The centre-back has struggled for regular opportunities this season at United and could be sold ahead of next season. I think this move makes a lot of sense for me. For everyone. I think Harry Maguire is still a good centre-back. He gets a lot of stick and people think he's done. I don't think he's done at all. I think he's got a lot to offer. And I think a move would suit him. I think it's not happening for him at United. I think it's become the narrative now where I feel nervous when he's playing, not just because of him. I think there is a nervousness there. I feel it even at the stadium at Old Trafford. It's like, oh, Maguire's here. Oh. And I think it's got to affect you. And I think there's a little bit of that from him himself. And it's just not been great the last sort of 18 months for Harry Maguire at United. He's had a lot going on where his performances have been criticised. He's lost the captaincy, well, his first place. He's still the captain, club captain, but let's face facts, he isn't the captain because he doesn't start most games. So you just feel like a move away to Newcastle, where for me, I think he goes straight into that team. Producer Ethan, does Harry Maguire get in your team?
I think so.
He says he thinks so. He's a Newcastle fan. Who've you got Botman, and who's the other kid? Share. So yeah, you'd have Harry Maguire in that defence, and I think he'd do a good job. Harry Maguire is a defender who had a very, very good spell at Leicester, got an £80 million move to Manchester United, helps us finish third, helps us finish second, and then things started to go wrong. So it's not like he's always been terrible. He's a proven Premier League defender, and he's also a very good player. We see it more for England than we do for Manchester United. I know you can't just judge someone off their international record, but I think if you're going to most clubs in the Premier League, would you take Harry Maguire, a proven England international, a regular for England, someone who's finished third and second in the Premier League, and not too long ago was getting an £80 million move to Manchester United? I think nearly all the clubs, barring maybe the top sort of, your Cities and your Liverpools, would say yeah. I think even Spurs and probably even Chelsea would have him. I think there's only a couple of clubs that wouldn't. In fact, there's probably about 3 clubs that wouldn't have Harry Maguire. There's probably United, Liverpool, and City. Maybe Arsenal as well. Get involved in the comments, let us know what you think. Nico says, agree, Newcastle, Spurs, and similar would be his level. Kieran C says, maybe 50, 60 million. I think he's talking about Harry Kane. Whitterbird says, Maguire has got a good finger to point a ball. You're right, Jay. Stuart Thomas says, Chelsea would have anyone. That is a good point, yeah. Chelsea would have anyone. Adam Pre says, Maguire out, Gvardiol, Bellingham, Kane, Osimhen in, and we're winning a title. I mean, I think you're right. I think if we bought all those players in, I think we'd be laughing. Can we talk about Bruno? What's that song from Canada? We don't talk about Bruno. Well, we do on this channel. I've seen some right nonsense about Bruno Fernandes. He's basically the captain of Manchester United, isn't he? Following the defeat to Liverpool. Excuse me, a bit slotter. Bruno's been getting a lot of stick. Now, everyone against Liverpool had a terrible game for Manchester United. They were all awful. There wasn't a decent performance amongst any of them. Now, Bruno's getting a bit more stick because he was the captain. So people going, well, he's a leader, he should be doing a bit more, this, that, and the other. He's also been getting accused of certain things that he didn't do, like asking to come off when he didn't. I think Gary Neville said that Bruno Fernandes had asked to be subbed off when he hadn't. There's no evidence of that, and it looks like what Gary Neville was referring to was just a bit of confusion between the players as to who was coming off. Because I think they were signalling someone's coming off for a substitution, and Bruno's asking, is it me? He wasn't asking to be subbed off. I think one thing you can't accuse Bruno is not wanting to play. He always wants to play for Manchester United. His record speaks for itself. He never misses a game. I think he's missed 1 game since he's been here. It's ridiculous, that. Maybe he's missed another one, through suspension, but for actual injury, I think he's missed 1. Like, he always wants to play. So that's nonsense. Now we've got this situation where there was it's almost like a flick on the linesman, where the FA have said they're not going to prosecute him. Now, the referee support charity, Ref Support, have called for Bruno Fernandes to be banned. Now, if you watch what happens here, I'm going to explain to you what happens in this incident. Right. The ball goes out for United throwing. Trent Alexander-Arnold slides out. He grabs the ball. Bruno tries to get the ball off him. The linesman grabs Bruno, which he shouldn't have done. Dermot Gallagher's on Sky Sports saying the linesman shouldn't have done that. He grabs Bruno's arm as Bruno's trying to get the ball back. Trent Alexander-Arnold then throws the ball at Bruno's stomach. If you watch him, he throws the ball at his stomach. And then as the ball bounces in front of Bruno, as he goes to get the ball, like the linesman doesn't say anything about Trent throwing the ball, whatever, I'm not that bothered. The linesman walks across Bruno as he's trying to get the ball. And Bruno sort of barely touches it, like, get out of the way, let me get the ball. Now, Dermot Gallagher was making a point on Sky Sports, and if you ever watched Sky Sports and watched Dermot Gallagher, or remember him when he was a ref, he's not exactly pro-United. He's making a point that he doesn't think anything could come of it because the linesman shouldn't have done what he did. He shouldn't have manhandled Bruno. The FA have said they're not going to do anything. The referee knew what happened, he saw it, and he didn't think there was anything wrong with it. So you've seen that. Can you just bring that back up? Because this geezer here, right, Martin Cassidy, yeah, referee charity calls for, right, there's one thing that I hate. When people moan about stuff, right, and they complain or they say things and they say, can't we just think of the children? Look, the children. Like, just like someone doing a Ronaldo celebration or a Cruyff turn, children will mimic what they see on TV. Yeah, do you know what? My son has been, and my daughters, they've been pushing linesmen all day. Every day since that happened, they've been running around, pushing linesmen willy-nilly because of what Bruno did, and it's just a disgrace. It's nonsense, right? There's no case to answer. It's done with. Martin Cassidy, he's waiting. Referee support UK Chief Executive. Also, guess who he supports? Go on, I'll give you 2 guesses. Anyone in the chat want to get in? Guess who Martin Cassidy supports? Liverpool. He's a devout Liverpool fan. He's given interviews where he talks about his love for Liverpool Football Club. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's swayed his opinion in any way, shape or form, but you may think that. Now, listen, I want to talk about Bruno a bit more because it's not just Martin, Liverpool fan Cassidy, who's been laid into him. It's not just Gary Neville, who's been accusing him of things he hasn't done. It's not just that. There's a lot of fans as well who've been questioning him, going, Bruno's a captain. He should be leading by example. He should be doing a better job. Yes, everyone's bad, but he's the captain, so you focus on him. Is he even good enough? Can we rely on Bruno Fernandes? Let's go through stats here. Got some stats. Since he arrived at Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes has played 166 times for the club. That's more than anyone else. He scored 57 goals during his time at United. More goals during that time than anyone else. Marcus is the closest to him with 54. He's got 50 assists, more than anyone else. When he arrived, we were 6 points off top 4. We just lost at home to Burnley. We finished 3rd that season after a 21-game unbeaten run. And who was the architect of that? Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has taken a club that was basically on his knees and helps us, not just alone, but helps us finish 3rd, finish 2nd, get to finals, win a trophy. He's been integral to all that. He's played in a 6, in an 8, in a 10, left wing, right wing. He's played as a false 9. He's played everywhere. He's been given the armband. And he's the type of player who takes responsibility. Do you remember when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer played his last game as manager, or had his last game as manager at Watford, and we all went over to clap the fans? And the fans were having a go and booing and all that. And what was Bruno Fernandes doing? He was saying, blame us. Don't blame the manager. Blame us. He was taking responsibility. He's quick to praise. There you go. There's a picture of him saying, don't blame the manager. Blame us. Blame me. Blame the players. So he does take responsibility. Yeah? When he, at the derby, when we won, when Marcus Rashford got the goal, when he was walking off, he was saying to the fans, give him the credit, not me. When fans were chanting Bruno's name, it's all about Marcus. Bruno Fernandes has been a fantastic player for Manchester United. He's been our best signing post-Alex Ferguson. I firmly believe that. I just want to go back a little bit to a quote here. And this is from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This was when we beat City in the derby. Remember the 2-0 game? The last-minute goal to make it 2-0 from Scott McTominay. And this was a game as well where everyone was loving Bruno's shenanigans, as they're called, when he was telling Pep to shush. Pep was going on with himself, and Bruno's like, shh, give it a rest. Yeah? It's completely rejuvenated the team. This is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had to say about him. He works hard. He is humble enough. He's got the desire and commitment, but he's also got the X factor. So you can see it there. He's a risk taker. He's got the courage to make mistakes. And if you make enough mistakes, it'll be corrected and fantastic assists or goals. You need a character here. You need character in this club, but this team have got that. They have learned through some hard times this season because we have a young team and we have started something we believe in, and Bruno has helped that. He does make mistakes. He does give the ball away. He does do certain things where I'm going, what are you doing, Bruno? But he also gets lots of goals and lots of assists. He also plays practically every single minute of every single game. He also constantly chases down loose balls, sticks a foot in, runs tireless, works hard for the team. He's not perfect. Show me a player who is. But he's a massive asset to Manchester United. And listen, I get fans are hurting and we're angry after that defeat at Anfield and you want to blame people. But let's not just try and rewrite history about Bruno Fernandes and pretend he's been anything but an amazing player for Manchester United Football Club. I just don't get the grief he's getting at all. And I get it from Martin Cassidy, the Liverpool fan, trying to get him banned and other plant pots. But as a United fan, I've got nothing but love for Bruno Fernandes, and I think we're very fortunate we signed him, because if we hadn't, we could have been in all sorts of trouble. Listen, get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know what you think about Bruno Fernandes or anything else. Red Lad says, I would be more annoyed if my captain wasn't mad. I agree. Matt Wick says, absolutely do not want him gone, but he shouldn't be captain, not the right personality type. There's an argument there. Maybe he shouldn't be, but you know one thing he has done when he's been given it, man, he took it. He took that responsibility. Maybe it is Casemiro next season, who knows? I don't think it will be. I think he'll stick Ten Hag with Bruno, because it'll look like you've stripped Bruno's captaincy rather than awarding it to someone else. But whilst he is performing as Manchester United, he's willing to be captain. Santa Notch says, every creative player makes mistakes and gives the ball away. They do. It's what they do. Brian Casey says, isn't football 11 versus 11 more than Bruno on that pitch? Exactly. AJ Williams or AR Williams says, just been scapegoated, plain and simple, love him. Stuart Thomas says, Mike, drop J. Whitterbird says, the win rate with Bruno is brilliant, only 3 losses. Exactly. Look at the win rate. Let's keep hitting that like button. Come on, let's get to at least 200 likes. Hit that like button. If you like Bruno Fernandes, regardless of whether you think he should be captain or not, hit that like button, because I love the kid. Santa Dot says, Casemiro doesn't speak enough English. Would he be right as captain now? Maybe that would be a fact. To be honest, I don't see Bruno Fernandes getting a bad band taken off him. I've just seen a lot of people suggesting maybe Casemiro because of what he's won and his stature and all that. I'm not so sure Bruno gets it took off him, because I think it becomes the narrative of then he's been stripped of the captaincy rather than Casemiro's been given it, if that makes sense. Matog Salah was in there with Super Chat. I don't think there's anything in it, but thanks for that anyway. Am says, you can call out Mark Cassidy. Is it Martin Cassidy? I think it is. Is it? Or is it Mark Cassidy? Weghorst, the no Liverpool fan, is touching the Liverpool this is Anfield's side. Where is the same energy for him? Well, that's not the first. He's not the first player to do that. I think that's a thing, innit? I think Roy Keane called it out. He said it was childish. But I don't think for 1 minute that Wout Weghorst didn't turn up because he touched the Liverpool side. I think Wout Weghorst has tried his best. I just personally, it's Mike Cassidy, I just personally don't think Wout Weghorst has probably got the levels you need to play for Manchester United week in, week out. He could do a job in certain games, and he's done a decent job since he's arrived, but you need a striker who can get you goals, whether that's Harry Kane, whether that's Victor Osimhen, or whether that's anyone else. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks for everyone who got involved in the chat. Thanks for everyone who supported the channel as well. We've got loads of good stuff coming up. We've got the preview as well for the Real Betis game. Hopefully United can bounce back from that. We've also had the Paddock podcast yesterday, if you want to go check that out as well. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I'm Jay Motty. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.